Hey everyone, this is Danielle, also known as Gently Smiling Jaws, and welcome to my Flosstube. For this Flosstube, I am recording on December 26th, the day after Christmas, just because I have some time today. But this won't go up until January, and this will be a WIP parade as well as going through some items I have kitted up and have planned to be starting soon. So let's see. As I've been starting more things, I was getting a bit more worried that I had, more and more like, oh no, I've got, kind of too many things, and starting to feel like I was a little overwhelmed. But as I was sort of counting some stuff that I have here, at least that I certainly have more than I did, but I feel okay. It was less than I thought, and so I'm happy about that. I'm actually going to start off with the tea today because I'm going to start to prepare it so that by the time I need something to drink, it will be ready. What I have here is a blooming tea from Yunnan Sourcing. It's called Blissful Love, and these are just some of the teas, that they will open up and have, flowers and stuff in them, so they look pretty. And they're not something that I drink very often, but I did get myself, a big kind of double-walled glass mug specifically for having these, because I figure if I'm going to use them, I want to be able to enjoy them visually as well. So that's... So here's hold this up here so you can see just the ball of tea, and it will then open up once we get the hot water in there. And then we should be able to see over time what this looks like as it starts to open up. I have the water temperature a little lower than I normally do just because I don't want to worry about this being too hot once I am ready to get something to drink if my voice starts to get a bit. So we'll just let this sit back there and do its thing. Okay. What I'm going to start with is actually something that I've never shown on here before. I think I mentioned it once, but then I couldn't find it, and I turned it up just as I was things. This is the little bit of a start of a Mill Hill. It's the Painted Pumpkins ornament. There's the picture of what it looks like. So at some point I had started this. This might have been the second thing that the second project I started in on, and not the Stay Spooky. I might have started this one first and then for whatever reason got partway through and then set it aside and decided to focus on just the other cross stitching on fabric. So this, obviously it's not that big, but I haven't done that much, and I should just finish it and get this taken care of. But since I found it, I wanted to show it. So that is number one. For some of these things, I may go in and insert a photo of the cover of the pattern afterwards when I edit, just because I don't necessarily want to be digging through to find them on my tablet when I can just insert a better picture instead of holding up a tablet and get the glare off the screen. And I do have a second battery charged up and ready to go, but I'm also sort of suspicious of how long my battery on this camera will last, so we'll see. So there we go, number one. The second WIP is one that I started since my last Flosstube, and I started it on Christmas Eve, and it's the Modern Folk Embroidery Julbocken. I'm not certain on the pronunciation, but I have just gotten as far as having the kind of upper part of the border. I've put in quite a bit of time over the last, few days to make some progress on this. Just because it's a Christmassy pattern, the Yule goat, and it seemed like now was the time of year to get going on it. I've had the pattern for quite some time, and it's one of those things I've been meaning to do, and I haven't really stitched much Christmas themed at all, other than the little small that I did for Jingle Ball. I haven't actually been stitching Christmas stuff, so I figured that I would do that on this. And this is, I don't know if I have the tag on here or not, but it's a 40 count mallow linen. I think it's a Zweigart one. I'll have to double check, but the floss is Thread Gatherer Silken Colors in the reds, and I am stitching 1/2. And I have quite a bit of this floss because I wasn't sure what size, what count of fabric I'd be stitching this pattern on. And but after seeing how much I've gotten done with a relatively small amount of floss, I'm sure I will have plenty left over to do some other projects with as well. So I am quite happy with how this is turning out. I'm not sure how long I will keep my current momentum up, because with it being the holidays, I'm just and having some time off, I'm just sort of stitch and making progress. But as we get further away from Christmas and into the new year, my steam may slow down a bit. So I don't know how long this will ultimately take me to finish, but I am pleased with my progress so far. So there we go. Oh, and I guess while I'm doing this, I should also, I haven't really shown the project bags that I have, and so I will try and show this. This is in a bag from Little Boat 88 on Etsy, and it is a bee themed one. It's got bee fabric and vinyl front on there. All right. Second one is one, it was my last Flosstube, it was a new start. It's the Sal from Marroomy Designs, the from Yalda to Nowruz. Sal. So I haven't gotten any further on this border yet. It's because I decided to start on the Julbocken one and just kind of dove into that. But yes, this is kind of next up of wanting to get some more progress on this, so then I can get to those bands as they're released. So there's this one, and again, as I mentioned in my last Flosstube, I'm still deciding on the colors for this, but so we'll see how it turns out once I get to that point of making those color decisions. And this bag is a So Much to Love bag. It's got the black cats and the pumpkins on it. You'll notice that I like Halloween stuff, so a lot of the bags are going to have a Halloween theme to them. But it's a nice good size bag. This is another So Much to Love bag that's got strawberries on it, and appropriately this has a strawberry bird in here. This has a small amount more done since I last showed it. Some of those leaves I did fill in on. Hold my behind here. Actually, one moment. All right, I didn't have the piece of mat board sitting next to me that I normally have, so there we go. Not seeing the lights through this. So I've done a little bit more. This mainly just filling in that darker green on some of the leaves that I had outlined. I didn't get to all of them, but I actually did that last night as I wanted to do some stitching while not having to be paying as close attention to a pattern. So I did this just so I could work on a little bit of fill-in while I was watching some stuff. So here we are. So this continues along. This pattern, I'd have to double check and see exactly how many stitches are in it total. It's not all that many. I still have quite a ways to go, but still it's coming along. As I get to some of these other WIPs, I'm sure I'll have more to say about them. Some of these, because I've shown them so recently, there is not a whole lot to add from what I mentioned when I last showed them. Let's see, T is starting to expand some more there. To see how it looks as things continue. All right. This next one, I should put some more time into doing. This is the All Treats, No Tricks kit from the Witchy Stitcher. I had moved the Q-snap and I've still got another figure to go, and then, you know, the border around. So I've got, you know, a ways to go on this, but it's not that big of a pattern. So I should spend some time and put some more work into this one, and maybe work on getting a finish. But we'll see how soon that happens. It's a cute pattern, and I said this is the kitted version, so it has fabric from Fox and Rabbit. I think it's seaweed. I think it was a 32 count in the kit, and then Cottage Garden threads floss that came with it. So I said continuing along, made some progress there, but it got set aside. In fact, it got set aside not in the basket where most of my WIPs are, so it's sort of out of sight, out of mind for a bit, but that's one that I should get back to and work on getting a finish. I think a lot of these are, not all of them, but a lot of them are kind of larger pieces that I'm starting in on, and I should make an effort to do some more smaller ones and get through them. This is a another little boat 88 bag, because I've got the pattern stuff in here. You can't see the inside fabric, but this is a Tula Pink fabric with a barn owl on it. I like the Tula Pink fabric a lot, but I am not a quilter or somebody who sews, and I've got enough going on that I don't really need another hobby right now. So I am trying to, you know, stay away from fabric other than like, oh, this is a project bag that has nice fabric. But I'm even trying to stay away from that for a bit right now, because I've got quite enough project bags as well. Okay. Next is the Bivas sampler from Miriam at Marroomy Designs, and this is also in a, actually this bag is a Shiba Designs bag. It's their their kind of standard bag is a little bit bigger than the Little Boat 88 one, so I can kind of just fit an 8 by 11 Q-snap in here, and the that's too big for the kind of standard Little Boat 88 ones. But this is other, more tulip pink fabric. This has some giraffes on it there. Let me get some. This again, I need to get back to doing. I haven't done any work on it since I last showed it, but I do like the color combo here, and I'm stitching it on Aida, and although most of what I stitch now is on linen, I have to say that when I stitch on Aida, it is really nice to be able to find the holes super easy, and you know, you still have to count, but it's not as much as when you're doing linen. So this is pretty enjoyable to sit down and stitch on, and I just need to, you know, get back into a rotation of you know, working on some of these WIPs that I haven't touched for a bit, which is part of the reason why I don't, part of the reason why I'm trying not to have too many WIPs, just because I don't want things to go untouched for too terribly long. But yeah, I said not a huge way along this. I think, did I get to the other edge that side? I can't remember for certain, but I certainly did here and got that first little band done. So more to do. And this I mentioned before, but this is using the Silken Colors thread gatherer, and it is the color Wood Smoke. The Aida is a Bestitch Me, and it may be 16 count. I think it's a 16 count Aida, and I believe the color is Sand Dollar. This is another Shiba Designs bag, and this is Birds to the Boughs. When I was last working on it, I was going along the border at the top, and I hadn't finished off my strand of floss there, so I still have quite a bit to do. This is I believe this is a 32 count linen. I can't remember the exact name of the fabric. I know I'm doing all the called for DMCs. What I'm liking about this, at least what I'm in, you know, so far, is as I'm going around, like you could go and, you know, stitch sort of one of these motifs and then you kind of move on to the next, so it gives you sort of a nice starting and stopping point. Although, like I said, I was on the border at the top when I last stitched. And as I mentioned when I first was showing this on my Flosstube, this I'm sort of doing in honor of my, it's something that's in honor of my parents, but I'm going to be keeping it for myself. I started this on what would have been my dad's birthday, because he passed away a number of years ago. But it was just a pattern from Lindy Stitches that I quite liked, and I'm like, I would like that, and I can stitch that in honor of my parents, but keep it for myself. So that's one that's kind of slowly coming along, and I imagine that I may bring this one out and focus on it more on days that have to do with my parents, like maybe around my mom's birthday or, you know, their anniversary or things like that, I may pull this one out and focus on it some more. Get my stack over there. Big, so okay. This next one, this is another Little Boat 88 bag with the tulip pink fabric, and this is I think from the line that was kind of had to do with like Alice in Wonderland, and that's why I'm using it for my Owl Forest Alice in Wonderland, which this is I got the kit, and so this is using the Owl Forest threads that were in the kit. And just on the Queen of Hearts there. And this is the tricolor version, so the one that's only 3 colors. And I'm slowly working my way. I think the part that kind of slowed me down with this is I use Pattern Keeper, and I use Pattern Keeper for pretty much everything. If it's a paper pattern, I do my best to take a good, you know, photo to get it into Pattern Keeper this way. I was having, because this was a SAL, and the PDF, it's a free PDF. You can get it from you can get the design from Owl Forest Embroidery's website and just, you know, download it. That pattern, I think it's because it was, you know, released in sections, and so in that PDF there's each section, and the charts, sort of each section isn't the same size as everything else. Pattern Keeper doesn't like that, and I was doing some stuff to try to piece things together and put it in, and I was able to kind of get it to work after a lot of effort on my end, but it's certainly not perfect, and so the process is not as enjoyable as it would otherwise be. And that is, I think, a me issue, because I think what I could have done, and maybe I will, you know, yet do this, is go back and just sort of in Pattern Keeper import kind of one section at a time as separate pieces of the whole, and that may be a better way than what I had tried to do, because I was trying to make it one big full pattern. And like I said, although I accomplished it, things don't grid up perfectly with the little grid in Pattern Keeper, and it's kind of a mess. So maybe I will rethink how I am have got the pattern, and then maybe that will bring me back to doing more on this. Let me show. Here are the 3 floss colors here. They all have some variegation to them. Let's bring them up here. It's more of a kind of a charcoaly, kind of slightly green cast to it for the black, and then you've got the white and the red. And that I really like the full color version that they have, but the reason that I went for the tricolor one is, well, one, less color changing as you're doing it, and then also because I was thinking of putting it in this room eventually, and I've got quite a bit of red in here, and so I figured that doing the tricolor version might make it fit in a bit better. I think the WIP parades are sort of a note to self. These are things that you have in the works, and you should really get back to them, and this one falls under that category. Okay, this is another one that I need to get back to. This is, again, in a Shiba Designs bag with more Tula Pink fabric. These squirrels on it. This may have been one of the, this might have been among the first project bags that I got from Shiba Designs. That it was the first time I had seen Tula Pink fabric, and it kind of jumped out to me. I'm like, oh, I like that, and that's how I ended up with this. And I have gone back many times since for more bags. This is Ink Circles. It's the Grecian urn pattern, and I can't remember the exact name of the pattern now at the moment. Oh, and this has the ladybug, colorful ladybug fabric on the inside of that bag. This I am doing a combo of just DMC black and then some thread gather colors for the little animals. So you'll see got the octopus and the little scorpion up in the corner. And so this has, you know, kind of Greek pottery patterns on it. And as I had sort of mentioned that there was in a past Flosstube, I sort of mentioned that there was more of a story behind this. And but I never went into detail. So for this, in high school, I had a teacher who taught history and English. It was sort of a double period class. We'd have, you know, class before lunch, then we'd have our lunch break, and then we'd go back to the class for the next class. But it was sort of two periods, but subject matter kind of all melded, you know, between the two. And she was a wonderful teacher, very expected a lot, but I felt like I learned a lot from her, and she was really one of my favorite teachers that I ever had. And she really liked, you know, Greece, and her and her husband luckily had a chance, you know, to travel a number of places. And so as she would teach us about, you know, various street things, a lot of times she had slides from their travels, which sort of made it more interesting. But both of them really liked Greece, and you know, she always talked about wanting to move there after she, you know, retired. So I didn't, you know, keep in touch with her, you know, at all after you know, graduating, but I do know that her and her husband had moved to Greece and had lived there for a number of years. And then earlier this year, I found out that they had both passed away. And so this was sort of a in honor of her, and actually it was her interest in you know, kind of Greece and Rome, that when I was in college, I majored in classics, just because I was trying to decide what I was going to major in. I'm like, well, I have an interest in this area because of her, so that's what I decided to do. And I have not kept up since I graduated. I did not keep up with my Greek and Latin, so that knowledge is pretty much all gone. Some, you know, there's a little bit still there that kind of helps you with you know, vocabulary for words in English, but if you don't use it, you lose it, and that's pretty much gone. So I've only another one I need to get back to and work more on, so I can get this done, because I would like to get this have this one framed once it's done. So this and the little bit of the backstory behind why I started that. It may have been one that I did eventually anyway, just because of the subject matter, but I was sort of spurred into working on it after finding out what had happened. Okay. I don't have too many left here. And then there's the ones, the kitted ones to get onto. This is a Christmas bag. This is another Shiba Designs bag. It's Christmas and dinosaurs. And it's got Christmas trees. This is the Biscornu. I need to finish stitching so I can finish assembling it. And I should actually go and rewatch my Jingle Ball class about finishing the Biscornu before it goes away, so that I can have that before it's gone. And so I've got a refresher when I finally get this done to stitch it. So this is the it's Mojo Stitches, the Too Many Legs Biscornu. So I've had the one side done. It's got the spiders on it there. And this is on the is it the Country Mocha linen. So got the spiders on that side. There's less stitching on the back side, and I've got the web in the center done, and I've got some of the corner kind of floral bits. The web may be kind of hard to see there on it. I think part of the reason I didn't finish this yet is because since there's less stitching on there, there's more counting involved to make sure you get what stitches there are in the right place. And I haven't wanted to do the counting, so that's my excuse for not getting back to and finishing this. But this one, I don't know, maybe yet this evening I should work on this, just because I'm so close to having this done so I can actually assemble it and just have a fully finished object. And it would be great to get a finish, and then I have another bag free to kit things up. So that's where things are with this. This has been one of those things you should do. I want it done. I want it completed. I just am not super motivated to get the last bit of the stitching done to get there. I need another sip of tea. Continuing to expand, but we're not really seeing the flowers yet. And this may be partially my using water that was not quite as hot, so it may have kind of slowed down the expansion. Here's another one that really isn't that far from being done, and I just need to do it. This is another So Much to Love bag and Halloween fabric. This is a smaller one. And I actually have matching fabric on the grime guard. So this is a modern folk embroidery. It's a Biscornu design. I am not going to finish it as a Biscornu. I just wanted to have it done. And this is a variegated cottage garden threads. I don't remember offhand which one it is. I know I set it in a past Flosstube where I was showing it off. This is the first project that I tried to stitch on 40 count fabric. I think this is an R&R Reproductions fabric, maybe a charcoal. I had planned to stitch something else on this fabric. I decided to stitch something small on a piece of it because I wanted to give it a go and see how it was. And when I first started stitching this, I thought, oh my goodness, my eyes can't take this. And I was using a magnifying light, but it was a smaller one. It's the Halo Go, the one that folds down and is portable. And I was trying to use that with like a lap desk, and the way I was stitching was not the most ideal. I mean, it's still not the most ideal, but it's a lot better than it was. And so I was like, I don't know that I can make this happen. But then you know, I've now gotten used to it, and I now stitch a lot of things on 40 count, so it's gotten better. So I'm not quite halfway done with this. And I don't know that I would use this combo of floss and fabric color again. I don't know. But I do like the pattern, and I would like to have this done and then maybe, you know, just put it in a frame. Since I don't imagine, I mean, I suppose I could finish it as a biscornu. I wasn't planning on doing it, but I could. But again, just another one where, you know, there's still quite a bit of stitching, but not as much as a lot of my other projects. And so if I just put in the time, I could have a finish and be able to put something else in this bag. Not that it would cut down on my number of WIPs because I just add a new one, but and I think this may have also been the first modern folk embroidery pattern I started stitching. I've obviously got a number of them and have, you know, stitched their things, like the Julbocken one that I'm working on, but I think this might have been the very first one that I started. Okay. This is another Shiba Designs bag. It's got some hexagons with birds and such on there. And this is also modern folk embroidery. Spirits of the Dead. For some reason, I think it's Spirits of the Dead. For some reason, I always want to say like Souls of the Dead or something, but I think that's the name of it. This fabric, oh, I don't remember for certain. I think it's a Picture This Plus Ancient, maybe? I don't remember. But it's a 32 count fabric. I haven't done any further work on this. I've got the top all done. Borders up at the top. I'm down working on the text down at the bottom there. And you know, and I'm stitching, I think this is a 32 count and I'm doing it 2/2, and I should just work on this more because whenever I do work on it, I feel like I make a bunch of progress and I'm really happy with how things are going. So I should just put in more time and get this finished, particularly because so there's text and then the rest of the border, and then there is a band down at the bottom that I think has a date and Edgar Allan Poe, because this is an Edgar Allan Poe quote. So there's, you know, a good section of that bottom band where it's just kind of like fill in on the borders just sort of being. And so if I can do some of this text, then I can have some stuff where it'll just be, you know, stitching I can do without having to focus, you know, too much. So there's at least a number of solid kind of rows down here. So again, one that I keep meaning to get back to and put some time in with. And the floss on this is another Silken Colors. I'm blanking on, oh, this is 32 count ancient Belfast linen from Picture This Plus. The floss is Smokestack from Silken Colors. And as I've mentioned before, this is the one where there are multiple versions of this pattern. There's a reversed version where instead of, you know, stitching the outline of the skull, you're filling in the skull itself. And that was not the version that I meant to do, but that was the one that I started stitching, and that's when I stitched those like 400 stitches that I had to frog right at the beginning. But things have been going much better now. Okay. This, another Shiba Designs bag. More Tula Pink fabric. This, I believe, is my oldest WIP. After this, I may need to switch my battery. Looks like it's about to go. This is a Long Dog sampler, the opening gambit, the chess themed one. I've got the full width, and I'm not far down. There's some back stitching I haven't done in this area, but that's where I'm at. This is a Lugana. I don't think I have the tag on this, so I can't tell you immediately what it is. I know it's a 32 count Lugana. It's printed, so it's got this modeling on this side, but not on the other. And I am stitching it with just regular DMC 310 2/2. And this is my first time stitching on Lugana. I think this may be the only piece of Lugana that I have bought. And I haven't tried any others, so I'm just basing it on this alone. But I don't like Lugana. I was not having a fun time stitching on this. I'm going to finish it, but I wasn't finding it enjoyable to stitch on the fabric. So although I will, power through eventually, I was not liking the fabric. So that has kind of put me off from purchasing any other Lugana or other even weave. Yeah, so I'm not sure whether it's just this type of fabric or this piece of fabric in particular. And it may be because I don't know if it was feeling like the two strands on here, and if the holes were a little smaller and it was kind of difficult to pull the floss through. I don't know. I'd be curious to see once I do go back to it, now that I've done quite a bit of stitching since I last stitched on this, whether my feelings will be different about what it's like to stitch on this. I don't know. We'll see. But that's been sitting in timeout for a while. I had originally planned this to be a gift, but it's a lot of stitching, and when I wasn't enjoying stitching on it, I sort of realized that it wasn't going to be finished anytime soon for it to be a gift to anybody for anything this year. Maybe in the future. We'll see. But maybe after putting in that many stitches, I won't want to give it away. I'll be like, no, too much effort to give it to somebody. So there's that. Trying to decide whether or not to switch my camera battery. It is. Well, we'll see how far I can get. Oh, this is, oh good, this is from, bag is from Sherry So Sweet on Etsy. Here's the back. That's a Halloween patchwork bag. And nice and big. I know what's in this. This is Saga. And I have not got back to it since I last put it away. I should have kept moving it along, but I'll have to get back to this soon. This is Long Dog Samplers Saga. This is on a 40 count Tyco linen. I can't remember the dyer. Maybe it's Pictureless Plus. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know I've mentioned it in another video. And I am using Silks for You, a variegated floss. I don't remember the number offhand. I know I've mentioned that in another video, but yeah, I wanted to do something where I wanted to have some variegated color without having to switch, you know, kind of flosses around, and I went with this one, and like I said, made some progress, and then got distracted by other things and had not gotten back. I believe I started this in September. Had a rush and got a bunch of things in, and then it got set aside, so I will get back to this. Long Dog and Modern Folk Embroidery are some of my favorite designers. And of course, all the Long Dog ones that I like most are the really big ones. So gotta put in the time and make progress. So this will be something for next year. I don't know whether I want to commit to like picking a certain day of the week that I will do, you know, work on this specifically, or if maybe I just aim for that. I don't want to lock myself into too many rules, but I do want to see more progress on this piece next year. I certainly don't expect to finish it next year. You know, there's a lot of stitches, but I want progress, particularly because when I get to my kits, I have other Long Dogs I'm planning to start as well, so I need to get some movement on what I have started. Okay. I have one last WIP. This is in a Dollbird Designs, I believe. Is it? What's the name of the? It's got bats on the back, handle at the top, and then vinyl front here. This is Ink Circles. Oh, Ink Circles is another one of my favorite designers. This is Dragons of Sumatra, and this is on 40 count Bestitch Me Meadows linen. And this is another one I need to get back to. I'm still working on the border and haven't got towards the stuff in the center. But this is Silken Colors Lizardback, I believe is the name. And like I said, I only have a smallish dent in this so far. I mean, I've got a good chunk of the border, but I still have plenty to go. And I know that with like the models for this are stitched with like the red, but just the green. When I got this fabric, and I think I mentioned this in another video, when I got this fabric from Bestitch Me, it was sort of a last minute addition to the cart, and I'm like, I don't know whether or not I'll use this, but I want to give it, I'll add it to the cart and give it a try. And I got it, and I was looking at floss combinations, and I tried the lizard back with the meadow, and I really liked how that looked, and then I ended up deciding to go with this pattern. So yeah, need to get back to it. This is another one I would like to make a good chunk of progress on in 2024, although I realize that finishing it may not be in the cards. But yeah, so that is my last WIP that I currently have, unless I manage to start something else new in the next few days before the new year. This is what I've got. So let me do a count here. So it looks like it's a total of 15 WIPs, 14 that I have in the bags and the one Mill Hill one. So that is all of my WIPs that I will be taking into 2024. Next, and I may do a switch on my battery before I get started, it will be my kitted projects, so things I've got kind of ready to go but have not started in on yet. So that is next. All right, battery changed, and now time to talk about what I have kitted up and ready to go. I guess what I should start with to make sure that I don't forget is the items I'm not going to go into much detail on here. I have some kits on hand from the Witchy Stitcher and the Drawn Thread. I've got some stuff from them that I'm not ready to dive into just yet, but I have kits that I had purchased and have on hand. The Drawn Thread ones are mostly Halloween themed ones, although I have one or two that aren't. And the Witchy Stitcher ones are a number of different ones, and I just not ready to dive into those just yet, but have them on hand. I also have some Satsuma Street ornaments, Christmas ones, as well as the spring ones with the birds. Okay. During Satsuma Street's sale, not all that long ago, when a lot of the ornament kits were on sale, I had wanted to get Halloween ornaments, but then I was dithering like, oh, I don't really need to be, spending money on those right now. But then I later decided, well, the sale is enough and I want to do these anyway. I might as well go ahead and get some of the kits. But by the time I decided to do that, the Halloween ones were sold out. So I went for the Christmas ones because I do like those as well. So I've got a number of those on hand, and without trying to hold myself to anything, maybe I will try and do like one of those a month this coming year, so then at least I'll have some when December rolls around again. Again, not a hard and fast rule that I'm trying to hold myself to, but I just wanted to mention those since I don't have those items physically in here with me to show. But now on to the other items where I have them kitted up. First is this is the Black Cat season from Lindy Stitches, and I'll just show the front of when I had ordered these, I thought I had put the PDF versions of them all into my cart, but I had not. I ordered the physical ones instead, and I got the physical cards, the floss, and the fabric, and the little hanger. So this is one that I want to, since I've got everything for it, I should start on it and get that finished so I could complete it. So it's the Grace Notes fabric that you could get the skinny cut. And this is in a little Boat 88 bag that has, it's like a Halloween Black Cat fabric. And yes, I used having the pattern as an excuse to buy this bag. That's just what it is. Did I need a bag? No. Did I want the bag? Yes. So that's how I ended up with this. And the grime guard for this, the grime guard is from, and I haven't been mentioning those. I think it's Carrie Sews for You on Etsy, but this is it also has a black cats and bats. I've got stuff ready to go, and I thought I had planned to start this some time ago, and then I think it was not having the PDF version of the pattern is what slowed me down, and then I was trying to decide whether I go ahead and just buy them in PDF format, but what I think I'm doing, and I already did, was just try and, with my tablet, take a good photo of the first, pattern and get it imported into Pattern Keeper, and I think I managed to do that. Okay, I just haven't actually started it yet. But I liked the idea of getting sort of everything for this project, including the hanger, all that, so that and I do have some fabric and such on hand where I can figure out how to sort of fully finish the piece once it's done and get it on the hanger. And then I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put it. Maybe I'll stick it back here someplace and just find a spot where it will fit in. Oh, next up, and I already talked about this in a previous video, but this is another So Much to Love bag. It's got the blue kind of sewing notions pattern on the fabric. This is for the Modern Folk Embroidery sale for next year. The crinkling on the plastic of this. This is the Bestitch Me 40 count Through the Stones, and the Silken Colors Chestnut and Snow Cream are the colors that I'm going to use for the sale. Let me hold this up so you can see. So this will be a start very soon once January hits, and it's time to start in on that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that all comes together. I am going to, I think this will be the first sale that I'm doing where I'm sort of starting it at the time it's supposed to be started. Excuse me. For the Marroomy Designs Yalda to Nowruz one. That one I didn't start until a little bit after the border was first released, and obviously I'm sort of behind on on stuff there, so that one I'm definitely not sort of keeping up with. But this one I am hoping I can. We'll see. But I would like to keeping up with this sale so that it's I have it finished by the end of the year is something that I would like to have happen. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. This is first the bag. It's from the Pampered Needle. First time I have ordered anything from them, and they are local here to Washington. This is something I talked about on a previous Flosstube, the what I'm planning on. And then this is, I want to do long dog samplers, fish and ships. And that's one of the, you know, not quite so big ones, although there's still a lot. And I talked about doing this color combo of stuff. I haven't actually tried it out myself, so I still feel like I need to do like a test little row on the edge or something to make sure that the floss kind of shows up how I want, because this is definitely going to be tone on tone. This is a Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers 32 count linen in Mermaid Lagoon. So there's that. And then this is a Silks For You floss in PR 147. Let me get this out. So again, this is what I think I'm going to do, but I haven't done a test to be sure. But there, you have the fabric and the floss. So this will, you know, it'll be a tone on tone, and I think it'll work okay, but I don't know. There's a chance I may, like I said, start doing a little test and decide it's not going to work. But this is, that's the current plan. This is one where, like many of the kind of long dog ones, I have a lot of long dog patterns, including some of the smaller ones that, you know, I intend to do eventually. I just need to you know, solidify what I'm using and get things started. And I do have more long dogs in these kits. But yeah, this is one I want to get started on next year. And this bag, this Pampered Needle bag, I got this as a it was a set, and I suppose for this one I should show the fabric inside, which has some fish and plants and such. I thought that was cute fabric in there, and because this was sort of a set, it came with this little, I guess it's sort of like a thread bed, but this is more of a like a cardboard board that has then like some batting on it and then some fabric on the edge there, and also some floss drops there that are all kind of, you know, marine themed, and then the needle minder is an octopus. So yeah, that's all the list of things to start. And this silk is just gorgeous. I suppose if I decide that fabric isn't going to work, I could just do more of a light colored, you know, a fabric, and just have it be sort of more of a neutral background, and let the silk, you know, be the star of the show. But I'm liking this, you know, kind of tone on tone idea, and so that's what I'm aiming for. Okay. This bag is from, I don't think there's oh, here, yes it is. It's Carrie Sews for You shop. And although I haven't been mentioning it, the majority of, or possibly all, the kind of grime guards that I have, stuff I've gotten from her shop. But this has sort of a witchy fabric there. This, okay, this is another long dog one. This fabric is Picture This Plus 40 count vellum. I have a half yard of it. And the floss is another Silks For You. This is PR 137. Got greens here. I hold that up. There we go. My plan for this is that it will be the Long Dog Samplers Lo and Behold. It has, well, like a lot of the Long Dog Samplers, there's lots of animals in this one. There's a big either crocodile or alligator on it, and other animals. And at some point I decided that I wanted to do it in doing green floss would be the way to go, so this is what I have slated for that. Again, another big long dog. I need to start putting more time into stitching on them, otherwise somewhere in my process of doing this, a needle stuck itself into my sweater. So glad I found that. I don't know offhand which project that was supposed to go with. I'm gonna set this aside over here, and it will we'll get it back into a project bag soon. I'm glad it only ended up partially in my sweater and not elsewhere. But yeah, there's a lot of the long dogs where there's they're big and they're gonna take a lot of time, and I just need to start putting the time in and slowly working my way through them, because I will never have the finished product if I don't get to work. Okay. This is another Little Boat 88 bag with more Tula Pink fabric on it. This one is the elephants and the blue. This is sort of I have two different things planned for this. One, I got this Silken Colors Cerise Noir sometime back, and maybe this was, I had planned to use the kind of charcoaly fabric that R&R Reproductions fabric that I used part of for the Modern Folk Embroidery Biscornu pattern that I showed earlier. I had planned to use that fabric. Maybe it was with this. There was or with another Modern Folk Embroidery. I had plans for that fabric, and I still have a chunk of it left. But I think that I had originally planned to use with this on the Modern Folk Embroidery. Is it here? Here there be dragons? Let me see here. Got my tablet in front of me. Oh, here be dragons. It's the one, and I think the other, I also had planned to maybe use it for the little busy, or How Doth the Little Busy Bee. And I have floss for that as well. So maybe once I get something else finished, maybe the Busy Bee one can be then kit up in a bag. But I had bought this always with the intention of using it for the Here Be Dragons pattern. But then I was trying to decide again what fabric and such I wanted to use. Now I've come to the conclusion that this, the 32 count bedrock linen from Bestitch Me that I have, let me take it out of here. Apologies for the sound. I just think that's a good match there. So this I'm planning to here be dragons on this. I'm also thinking that depending on, I have to look and see how much of this fabric that pattern will take up, but I would like to use a portion of this fabric to do the Got the Morbs from Modern Folk Embroidery as well. And I know that's small. I had planned on doing it pretty small. I'm trying to take a look because I know I've got it here in my pattern keeper. Why am I not seeing it immediately? There it is, yeah. So now that I'm looking at this more and thinking about the fact that it's 32 count, I know the pattern's not that big. Maybe I will try doing the Got the Morbs portion as 1/1 or doing it over 1 on this. The Cottage Garden Samplings raccoon one that I did earlier this year and gave to my mom, I stitched that over 1 on a 32 count fabric, and towards the end I absolutely hated that I was stitching it over 1. I was doing that much over 1. And the reason I did that one over 1 on that fabric was because I had planned, that was the one I had planned to stitch on 40 count, because then it said, well, if you stitch it at 40 count, it would fit in the size frame, and because I was going to give it, I'm like, okay, that's perfect. And then after I tried the Modern Folk Embroidery one, and that was when at first I thought 40 count is not going to work for me, that's when I'm like, okay, I need a plan B. Well, I'm going to do this 32 count fabric and stitch it over 1, and then it'll work out. And it did work out, but I was not happy stitching like that. So, but since then I've discovered that stitching on 40 count's fine. But yeah, so this will be 2 things: the Here Be Dragons and likely Got the Morbs as well. So we'll see when those happen. But after I decided on this floss and fabric combination, I got much more excited about doing the Here Be Dragons pattern again. And then we'll see, if I'm going to do the Here Be Dragons on 32 count, then I'll probably do it 2 over 2 with this floss, so I should have plenty, but we'll see how much I have left, and or if I've got enough left to do Got the Morbs with that as well. And I guess if I don't, then maybe Got the Morbs will end up on something completely different. I don't know. I know that one's not a big pattern, and so I sort of had visions of trying to do it, especially teeny tiny, and I don't know. We'll see. Get there. Okay. Got just a couple more things. This is another So Much to Love Halloween bag. It's got glittery fabric. This is, oh, okay. This is another ink circles. I'm going to take this out again. Sorry for the crinkling. Part of the reason I have so much Be Stitch Me fabric is that I've only placed 1 order from them, and I ordered all from ready to ship items, and I had there was a discount code from, I can't remember which Flosstuber I got it from, but watching a video, there was a discount code. I thought, okay, I'm going to go ahead and place this order, and so I sort of went wild and had now quite a bit of stuff in stash. So now that I have all that stuff, I'm trying to pull through what I have in the stash and start using it for things. So this is Be Stitch Me Adventurine in 40 count and Silken Colors Green Leaves. This combo is what I had originally thought I had wanted to use for like Lo and Behold. But I think that after looking at that, I think Lo and Behold may be too big to go on this fabric. I'm not 100% sure, but things changed, and I ended up, and then after I got the Silks for You in that green and decided I was going to do it on that other fabric, that moved to that. Now, but still liking this color combo, I thought, okay, well, what am I going to use this for? I think that this I'm going to use for Forests of Sumatra by Ink Circles. So just like how the Dragons of Sumatra I'm doing in, you know, the meadow green fabric with the lighter green lizard back, this will be another green on green. So we'll see. Just sticking with a green theme for the Ink Circles Sumatra design so far. So that's my plan for this. Although I feel like I should get myself to make some more progress on Dragons of Sumatra before I start in on Forests of Sumatra. But that's my plan. Okay. Let's have a tea break here. Yeah, I added some more water to this and it's expanded some more there, but I think it's a water temperature thing, which is why it has not opened up more than this. Looking down from the top, I can start to see the flowers, but I don't think that's going to be... Yeah, maybe you can see a little bit in there if I hold it up in front of the camera. Okay, 2 things left. Actually, I'm going to start with this one on the bottom first. This is my other Doll Birdies bag. This one has this cute mushroom print fabric on it. It's the fabric that gets me on these bags. I fall in love with the fabric, and since I have a sewing machine. I have an inherited sewing machine. There was a relative who had passed away and had a brand new sewing machine that had never been used. And there was, even though I'm not somebody who sews a bunch, there was like a project or two that I had wanted to do. And so I had, you know, asked, well, if nobody else wants the sewing machine, I'd be happy to take it. And they were just trying to get rid of things from the house, so that ended up with me. And so I have a sewing machine, but because I'm not really a sewer, and I'm not just buying fabric, that's a rabbit hole I do not need to go down. But still, there's so much fabric that I find adorable that when I see it on something like a bag, it's like, oh, that's wonderful fabric, and it's on a bag. I can use a bag. I can find a use for that bag. And then I end up with too many project bags. But I'm trying to put a hold on, you know, no more, at least for quite some time. That's my hope, because I've got plenty. But back to what's in this bag. This is Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers Veil of the Night 32 count linen. It's a big piece, and I believe this is one that sort of has an ombre effect on it where it's darker at the bottom, I think. But this, and then more Silken Colors. I was on a back when I was placing these orders, I was planning out things I wanted to do, and so I was deciding that I wanted this Swedish blue and white for you're trying to see if you can see, there is some blue in there. I don't know how well it's coming across on the camera, but Long Dogs Before I Sleep is what I'm planning to use. What I'm planning to use that for. So we'll see. Another one that needs to be started. Let me take a look here. I've got it on. I think the pattern is towards the top of my pattern keeper because it was one of the early ones that I imported in. Yes, Before I Sleep. That one is 251 by 327 stitches. Another item. I have some other fabric. I'm trying to remember if it's another Fiberlicious one where the blue in the floss is really close to the blue in the fabric. And I really liked how that combo looked together, but I was concerned about in that it, you know, like how I'm going to do a tone-on-tone thing with the fish and ships. I was just concerned with the blue being close enough that maybe those stitches would sort of disappear more into the fabric and it may cause an issue. I don't know. Maybe it would have been fine, and I don't know, maybe I will, if I have, you know, floss left over, then maybe I can try some stuff on that other fabric and see if that's a combo that would work. But I think for this one, for Before I Sleep, that having that darker blue with this should be fine, because it's a wintry scene. Like I said, I'll insert the image of the pattern cover there. So there's one more. Okay, last one. This is another Sherry So Sweet bag. It's another patchwork Halloween one. There's more crinkling in here, so I'm gonna take this fabric out of the bag here. All right. This is not 100% certain that this is going to happen. This is 36 count tangerine linen from Bestitch Me. I wanted a kind of more vibrant color in when I placed that order, but I didn't know what I was going to use it for. In my last floss tube, when I showed the from Yalda to Nowruz Sal and the cottage garden threads that I'm thinking about using but haven't fully decided on, those, since I wanted to do something that was kind of, you know, like a rainbow on a grayish, you know, fabric, and at first I thought I was going to use those colors for the Ink Circles Rosetta pattern. Since I was shuffling things around and those colors may be used on that cell, I was looking and I had that fabric, and then when I had done my Silks for You order, this is PR 160. This is a bright rainbow silk, and looking at that, it seemed like, okay, well, if you want color, that could go on there. So I'm considering doing this combo for the Ink Circles Rosetta. Just something where it can be just crazy color, and just however it falls is however it falls, and it's fine. And with it just being a, you know, kind of more geometric, you know, ornamental pattern, that it can be whatever color and it's fine. So if I want something bright and happy, this is what I'm, you know, considering. After I saw how this looked next to this fabric, I thought, oh, well, maybe using those two together will be the way to go. And so not 100% settled yet, but that's part of what I'm considering. We'll have to see. That's sort of why I'm tucking it in at the end, because this isn't 100% for sure a go. But that is that. Let's see here. So certainly have plenty of things that I would like to do. Plenty of things I need to finish doing, but I'm not at the point where I feel overwhelmed yet, which is good. I would like to avoid reaching that point. You know, there is some of this I am going to be starting, you know, pretty darn quick with, especially the Modern Folk Embroidery sale, no time like the present. Once January hits, that's sort of the first one out of these that is going to be, you know, started in on. The rest, I don't have any sort of timeline or exact, you know, plans on when I'm gonna dig into them, and some of them I would like to get some other things finished before I bring them on. However, excuse me. However, most of the things that I am likely to finish up and clear out first are all, you know, the much smaller projects, not some of the large things that I have started. So, I don't know. I feel like I need to have small things to give me the satisfaction of a finish and keeping me, you know, motivated. So I'm sure that there will be those, and those may be in the form of those ornaments that I mentioned, or maybe I'll find some other, you know, small projects that'll end up, you know, being worked in, because I can see that if I start clearing out some smaller stuff and replacing them with larger projects that are going to take me quite some time, and then that's when I'm going to get a backlog of the really big stuff. And I also know it's not, you know, for me, with the really big projects, I mean, I like making progress on stuff, and making progress on the really big stuff is going to be, you know, satisfying. But at the same time, I don't think that just, like, if I just focused on Saga, I think that the kind of boredom would eventually hit of just doing kind of the same thing each day, and I am going to need to, you know, intersperse other things. And I mean, I suppose if I have a rotation through really big stuff, then that would, you know, get me switching things up and making progress on various things. But I think I'm still going to need to keep small projects in the mix so that I can, you know, do those and have the motivation of a finish. And like I mentioned, I can use those, the ornaments, the ornament kits that I have will be a good way to have some, you know, small victories with those finishes. But I figure that maybe I should work on that Mill Hill one first. Perhaps the Mill Hill one should be the first ornament that I, from my, you know, WIPs to get done and accomplished, so that I can sort of get my, it's been quite some time since I stitched on it, and sort of get my feet back under me when it comes to stitching on perforated paper before I dive into the Satsuma Street kit, since this will be, I do want to, you know, have a you know, nice, neat finish on this Mill Hill one, but since I've already started on it, I guess it's sort of my guinea pig before I get into the Satsuma Street ones, where things are part of a, you know, series of things, where I would like to have them all, you know, nice and neat. Maybe I should go back and watch the that free finishing class again, and decide how I would like to finish those. Maybe I'll just do, I was trying to decide whether I do felt or foam. I had watched the class and then gone to Amazon and had a number of tabs open for things I was considering, but have not purchased anything yet, so I don't know. It's still up in the air about how I want to tackle those, but like I said, little bite-sized, I'll try and spread those little bite-sized victories throughout the year. So I'm not sure how long this video will end up being. I'll have to see how much I filmed before I did the battery switch and how much I got done on this, but hopefully this will be a nice long video for you to be listening to as you've worked on your own projects. So I hope you've made some nice progress on your own things, and I'm sure I will be watching a number of the WIP parades myself. It's always fun to see what other people are doing, and of course you always come across, you know, patterns or other things like, oh, I didn't know that existed. I want to try that myself. But I'm gonna try and resist, you know, buying too much more yet. That's, you know, I had talked before about, you know, resolutions for things. So my goal is I'm going to try not to, you know, be so worried about doing things as gifts. If I do start something as a gift, I want it to be whenever I finish this is when I will, you know, get it gifted and not be trying to do things for a deadline that's going to stress me out. So that's one thing. The other thing is that I'm going to, you know, without making promises on things, I'm going to try and cut back on what I'm, you know, spending on cross-stitch stuff, because now I have, you know, a significant amount of stuff in stash, and now I'm trying to work my way through. Like when if I'm wanting to start something new, either, you know, obviously the stuff that I have kitted where I either purchase things with this intent to use for the specific project, or I went through what I had in stash and matched up things and was like, this is what I'm going to use for this project. I would like to start by going to, you know, my stash first and, you know, trying to make things work, making, you know, substitutions where it makes sense before just going and focusing on, you know, bringing in new stuff. I have purchased these things, and I don't want stuff to be like, oh, this fabric or this floss is like too precious and I can't use it because it, you know, it's too nice. No, I bought it to use it, and I want to, you know, make use of the stuff that I have bought so that I can enjoy it and it can end up in a finished, you know, item, and you know, make additional, you know, any additional acquisitions, have them be hopefully more thoughtful purchases, and not just the instinct of, ooh, shiny new thing, I want that, because I know that that's something that I tend to do, and I'm sure I can't curtail the impulse completely, but I would like to tone it back. Other things, which I guess I will tack in on the end here because it's not cross stitch, but you know, I did those crochet blankets. There's still that other, the one that I showed in the last video of using that navy tweed for the other corner to corner. So this, which I had showed previously, is the little band starting off. So that was what I had planned to use for another corner to corner, and I'm sure that at some point I will probably start working on it, and again, it will be okay, I'm starting working on it, but there's no, you know, pressure to get it done by a certain point. The other is I've also got, at the same time I bought those, that yarn, I got yarn that I wanted to use for myself for a blanket, and it's sealed up so I can't easily grab it, so I'm not going to show it here. But now that I've done those 2 corner to corners and probably doing another corner to corner, the blanket for me, I may not be doing a corner to corner. I may do something else. I do have a, and it's in the room, but I can't easily get it and bring it back. I do have a large ripple blanket that I did years ago from some big bulky yarn, and I wanted to have a really big, you know, blanket, and I did that. And at the time I did that, I had made a number of other ripple blankets ahead of it, and so by the time I got through that, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of done with ripple blankets for now. But it's been long enough that I may go that route for the blanket for me, or I may look at some other, you know, crochet patterns and try and figure out what I would like to do in this blanket that'll be for me. So once I'm ready to go down that path, I'm sure I will show you know, what I'm working on here. And I think that covers it. So I'm not sure exactly what day this will be going up. I haven't looked at the calendar to see. I'm sure it's going to take some time for me to edit this down and get all the information together and insert photos and all that. So this is not going to go up the weekend of New Year's. At least I'm not anticipating that. It should be up the following weekend. So still at the near the start of January, but not the very start. All right. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you watched the whole thing, though, thank you so much for hanging in there. Like I said, I'm not certain how much it's going to be, but it looks like this second part, I'm already at over 47 minutes. I'm sure some stuff will be chopped down a little, but this one will certainly be a long one. So yes, thank you for watching the whole thing if you did, and actually, if you if you watched far enough to hear this, I'd be curious to hear about what you were working on while you watched. Just out of curiosity. And yeah, hopefully I will get, since I'm filming this on the 26th, hopefully this is now a long enough stretch that by the time you see my Flosstube after this, there will have been time to get a good chunk of stitching in, and I will have made some nice progress on various projects. We'll see. Like I had mentioned in my last video, the work the next couple of weeks, particularly this coming week, this is probably going to be a quite short but intense week, and we'll see. There's some major changes coming with the software that we're using, so it's probably gonna be a little interesting for a bit, but I'm hoping that doesn't derail me from wanting to spend time working on projects when I get home. But we'll see. You'll find out 2 weeks from now what I've done. So once again, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. All right, bye.